He was going live. Yahweh, we thank you tonight. Hallelujah. Wow. Praise be to your name and you alone. You are our Elohim. And we're studying your Torah tonight, Yah. We ask that you would open our eyes and our ears to the wonderful things that can be found in your Torah. Praise be given unto you and you alone. Hallelujah. 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 Praise the mighty Yah. Okay. All right. Can you guys let me see. See if I can share my screen with you. Okay. Well, welcome back. It's not been that long. It hasn't been long at all. It's been only a few days. It's beautiful, isn't it? You guys are like the only family that I know that has this commitment towards the Most High. Seriously. I mean, there's people that come, right? But I don't know. I don't know what it is. But praise be to Yah for you tonight. This in particular Torah portion is called because and within this Torah portion, you're going to find a lot of things being spoken to the children of Israel. And he's going to be explaining a lot of different things about what has happened to them in the past. And he's going to let us know a lot of things that happen is because of some things. This word because is called a cave, okay? A quave, okay? So it reminds me of our father's name, our ancestors. His name is Yaakov. So the same letters are being used. This is just pronounced different. It doesn't have that yod on the front of it, and the sound of it is different. But this here means he, and then because. So from my understanding of this word cave or a quave, is because of something. It means on the heel, or like, for example, when you're having a sentence and then you use this word because you're on the heel of a thought. Okay. So our understanding of this word has a lot, I would say it's very significant because it's directly connected to the name of our forefather, Yaakov. And that's because a lot of things that has happened in the world and what's happening is because of our father, Yah. Someone wants to get in. Let me let them in. It's because of our father. Okay. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of the things that we're going to read in this Torah portion have to do with our fathers. Okay. So let me read from right to left. It says, and it shall come to pass because you tishma'un, you're listening. Okay. You will listen to the hamishpatim, these judgments. Okay. And you shall guard them and do them. Then he says, I will, Shamar Yahweh, Yahweh will guard the covenant if you do what the Most High tells us to do. Yah will guard this. Okay, so there's a guarding of the covenant that is Yah saying he's going to take responsibility for that, right? But you and I have to do is we have to listen and we have to guard and we have to do those things that are contained in the covenant. So Yah's guarding the covenant, okay? So the Mishpatim, because it's funny that he only mentions the Mishpatim here. He doesn't mention the Kukim. He doesn't mention the Mitzvot. He doesn't mention any of that. He's just talking about the rulings of the Most High, okay? And he says because you're not only listening to them, but you're guarding them and you're going to do them, the Yah is going to guard. Yahweh is going to guard with you this covenant. And he's going to show you some mercy, okay? Which is true because the Most High tells us that he's only going to show mercy and compassion to those who keep his covenant. Okay. So the mercy is going to be shown to the individual in which he swore to our fathers. So there's a mercy. And let me just go right here right quick so you can see what I'm saying. So I wanted to remind us, because sometimes we read over it and we forget, but the Most High is letting us know that I'm only going to do this for a certain group of people, which I think that's why I'm always attracted to you guys, because I'm like, man, these people, they get it, you know. You guys are my brothers and sisters, so you guys understand. It's like, why are you getting it but other people are not getting it? You know, is it because I don't know, was it because you guys are from Texas? What is it? So if you look right here, there was something that said, oh, here it is. It says that, all right, so here it is in verse number 8. Forgive this little thing right here. Verse number says, rather, it was because, and he's talking about why he chose them. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this phrase. Almighty, I didn't even know this word because was going to be here. It was because Yahweh, okay, it's because Yahweh loved you, and because he wanted to keep the oath which he has sworn to your ancestors, that Yahweh brought you out with a strong hand, and he redeemed you from a life of slavery under the hand of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. You might ask yourself, well, how does this apply to me? Well, the fact of the matter is that we're scattered to the places that the Most High said he's going to scatter us to. And you and I are under the life of slavery in our own little way. We may not recognize it, but we are being held captive because you're not where you belong. You're not in your land. But it's because Yahweh loved you, right? And it's because he wanted to keep his oath. And I think the part that we're going to focus on is not just about him loving us. We'll talk about that more on Shabbat. Okay. It's because he wants to keep the oath. God wants to keep what he's sworn to our ancestors. And so this is the theme that you're going to find in the Torah portion. Is Yah's trying to make sure that he keeps his oath that he swore. So he's saying that my word is true. And in order to confirm that word, he has to follow through with what he said, which gives us a clue about what his expectation is from us. Listen what I just said. Yah is saying, I swore something to your ancestors. So I'm going to keep the oath in which I swore. I'm going to keep my word that I said. And in order to be in this relationship with the Most High, you and I have to keep the oath in which we swore. So he's saying, if I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do, you need to reciprocate and be exactly the same way, because that's how relationships work. Relationships are not one-sided, okay? So with this being said, the Most High is letting us know that the basis of everything that he does, of course, is because he loves us, but also, too, he wants to guard the oath, okay, which he swore. And so from this, you can know that Yahweh is, your Elohim is indeed Elohim, letting us know that by Yah swearing something and by Yah doing it, by taking the strong hand and delivering the children of Israel, he says, by this you can know that indeed Yahweh is Elohim. Okay. So for us, all we have is to look back on what he has done and what he has said. That's all you and I can hold on to. And he also tells us that in the end of days, when he does come back, and because that's what we're waiting on, he says, then I'm going to do this. And he says, then you'll know that I'm Elohim. You'll only know this when I do what I said I was going to do. You would only know that I'm showing you mercy and compassion, and I'm faithful to you when I'm doing what I said I would do. So this is the faithful Elohim, okay? He who keeps his covenant and extends grace, okay, to those who love him and guard and do his commandments to 1,000 generations. Don't forget about this phrase here, to 1,000 generations. That's part of your arsenal now. When you're talking to people and they're saying, well, the covenant is done away with, that's the Old Testament. You can clearly show them that grace is going to be shown to those who love him and who guard and do his commandments to 1,000 generations. It's only been 2,000 years or a little bit more since the character of the New Testament appeared on the face of the earth, right? But how many generations has it been? It hasn't been 1,000 generations, has it? No, it hasn't. And then it says the Most High, but he repays those who hate him to their face, and he destroys them in verse number 10. He will not be slow to deal with someone who hates him. Okay. So again, the Most High is letting us know that I've sworn an oath to your ancestors. And this is the reason why I'm doing everything I'm doing. I destroyed Pharaoh because of what I sworn to your ancestors. Yah knows that we're going to be faced with obstacles, okay? And he knows that in order for him to do certain things that he promised, that he's going to have to go through people. Meaning, like, I'm going to have to take you out of his hand. I put you in his hand so I can take you out of his hand. I put you in the four corners of the earth so I can take you from the four corners of the earth so they can see my glory. And so they'll know that you're my people. Because now I'm not just declaring it to those who were in Egypt, but I'm going to declare it to the four corners of the earth. So all the world will know that you're my children. They all will know that you belong to me and that I am your Elohim. Okay. And because of this, he says, therefore, look at where we are. Right? Look at where we are. Right? He says, therefore, keep the commandments, the laws, which are the Kukim, and the Mishpatim, which are the rulings, which I'm giving you today, and obey them. That's the reason why. It's because he's letting us know that everything the Most High has done for us is in connection. And now we go into our Torah portion that says, because you are listening. Okay? So it's interesting because he stopped right here in verse number 11, and then we got a brand new teaching going from verse number 12. So there's something that you and I must do. We have to listen to the rulings, keeping and obeying them. Yahweh your Elohim will keep you or keep with you the covenant and mercy that he swore to your ancestors, which is directly connected up here to the oath that he told us, that part of the oath that he said to our ancestors is that he said that Elohim will keep covenant with us and mercy that he swore to our ancestors. Now, in the covenant that he swore to our ancestors, we never heard anything about him directly. I don't know of anywhere where he says that he told Abraham, I'm going to show mercy to your descendants. He said, I will be their Elohim. So if he never came out directly and said this from a scripture that we know, okay, what we know is this, is that when Yah talks about keeping or guarding the covenant and mercy, he's letting them know, because I am your Elohim, that I'm the one who's full of mercy. I'm the one who's going to show you mercy. So if you and I detach ourselves from him, what we're saying is, in his commandments, he's saying that you're not going to receive any mercy that we just read up in verse number, I think, 8. Right? I'm going to show mercy to those who keep my commandments, who are loving me and keeping my commandments. Okay? And he says he will love you. What? If you listen to these rulings. Guard them. And he would not only love you, but he'll bless you, and he'll increase your numbers. And he will also bless the fruit of your body and the fruit of your ground and your grain, your wine, your olive oil, and your young of your cattle and sheep in the land that he swore to your ancestors that he would give you. Okay? So this promise that the Most High made is, and this is how you and I should understand something. Because when I read this, I was like, okay, well, we got a problem because we're scattered to the four corners of the earth, and this is only good when you're in the land. It's only good. Look, you will definitely know that Yah loves you when he blesses you. The blessing of Yah is directly connected to the increase of your numbers. as a community, as a people. He will also bless the fruit of your body, talking about through childbirth, and the fruit of your ground. You understand? And also the young of your cattle and sheep, they're going to increase. Okay. And then you're going to get the wine, the grain, the wine, the olive oil, and you're going to get the cattle and all this kind of stuff in the land that he swore to your ancestors that he would give you. So this puts us in a kind of a different predicament, because how would you and I know the love of Yah? And how will we really understand the blessing of the Most High? Well, if we would stay within the context or the framework that he's spelled out in the Torah, and we're not trying to make offerings that don't exist, but just understand what Yah has made a promise about, because just like he made this promise to them, and he was taking them into the land that he swore to their ancestors, he's promising us, and I'll show you where he says that I'm going to take you from the places that you've gone, and I'm going to bring you back into your land. And then I'm going to bless you more than what your ancestors were. So yeah, he blessed them. He increased their numbers. I heard a person, I'm not going to give his name, but he's a rabbi or a teacher that was telling people right now, because you keep the Torah right now, that he was going to do this for you right now. This is what he told everybody. And guess what? And people bought it. Yeah, if you keep the Torah, you'll never get sick. We know that's a lie. That's not the truth. Verse 14, you will be blessed more than all other peoples. So let's ask the question. Let's be honest with the text. And let's move out of our religious understanding and get down to what Yah really did say. So the question is this. We know that Yah loves us because he's our Father. We know this, okay? But the idea about us getting a blessing of the fruit of our body and an increase of the fruit of our ground, we don't have a ground. We don't have any of these things. So we're not going to sidestep what he said and try to make this apply to somewhere where it doesn't. And that's where we get mixed up. Verse 14, you will be blessed more than all other peoples. Is that the case today? No.
No.
So you guys tell me. You tell me, how much wealth does a Black person own, or as a community, as a people, how much percentage of wealth do we own or do we possess as a people of the whole world?
Less than 2%.
1%.
Yeah. Less than 1%. Okay. Less. According to our Constitution, how are you classified? Are you 5/5? Or are you 3/5?
3/5.
And is that today? Are you still 3/5 today?
Today, yes.
Yes. So why aren't you 5/5? Why aren't you whole? You see? So what we have to do is stop playing games with the text and let it say what it has to say. The reason why the Most High is having us read this, everyone, is because he's giving us an understanding about how far we've fallen from him. Verse 15, it says, Yah will remove all the illness from you. This guy that I was talking about, he said that you're never going to get sick. Yah's going to remove it from you because you keep the Torah. And I believe the Father. That's what he said. And he will not inflict on you any of Egypt's dreadful diseases. That's why I sit around with gout, because I have the dreadful disease of the land that I'm in, which you have known. Instead, he will lay them on those who hate you. So this hasn't happened for us. And this is not the reality that you and I are living in. So then when you say these things, it kind of makes people get like downhearted, and they get sad because they're just figuring out, well, why should I follow the Most High? Because you're only in this to get blessed, right? So Yah's changing the framework. Everything is changing for us. So our numbers are not being increased. We don't have the fruit of our body. We don't have any grain, olive oil, and wine and all this kind of stuff. We don't have no cattle. We have none of these things. We have no gold and silver and precious stones. We have illnesses. So this is the reason why people abandon the Torah, because they're figuring it doesn't apply. They don't want this. You understand? They don't want the reality, of this. The reality is that we're very sick people. The reality is we're very poor people. Yes. You are to devour all the peoples that Yahweh Elohim hands over to you, and show them no pity, and do not serve their gods, because Yeah, see, because that will become a trap for you. I want to turn our attention now from, before we go any further, we'll talk more about 16 in a minute. I want to deal with the idea about our ancestors, okay? Because our ancestors is they're the key to understanding everything, okay? So when we go to Genesis chapter number 26, verse number, let's just say verse number 3. And I'm going to put it over here in English. So just in case I can move, we'll go back and forth. In Genesis chapter number 26, the Most High is talking with one of our ancestors, okay? And I'm going to read it in English just so you'll know who I'm talking about. So it says, a famine came over the land, and not as the same as the first famine, which had taken place when Abraham was alive. So this is another type of famine. Yitzchak went to Gerar to Abimelech, the king of Philistine, which Abraham, his father, had an encounter with Abimelech as well. And maybe this is Abimelech Jr., I don't know, but they're both named Abimelech, and they're both the king of Philistine in the land of Gerar. So we know, and also too in Gerar, Abraham made a covenant with the king called Abimelech as well. And he put those, when he was digging those wells, okay? And it says, Yahweh appeared to him. To who? To Yitzchak. And he said, don't go down to Egypt. So now he's telling him, don't go down to Egypt, right? I'm going to say that for Yaakov. Don't go down to Egypt, but live where I tell you. This is interesting because he told Jacob, right, when he was in the land, when Joseph got taken from him, go to Egypt. He tells him, this guy, his father, don't go down to Egypt, but live where I tell you, right? Stay in this land. What? In the land of Canaan. And I will be with you, and what? I'm going to bless you. Okay? So the idea behind this blessing is, how are you going to bless? What did Yah just say about a blessing? How do you think he's going to bless Yitzchak?
Fruit of the womb, cattle, birds.
Yes, I'm about to open you up. So okay, remember, Yitzchak inherited everything that his father left him. When Abraham died, he gave everything that he had to Yitzchak. And he sent all his other sons away. He gave them gifts and stuff like that, but everything went to Yitzchak. Ishmael was gone. He went down to Egypt, right? So everything is Yitzchak. So all the servants that was Abraham's, all the gold, everything went from the father of Abraham to the son Yitzchak. Okay? Now he says, stay in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. Why? Because I will give all these lands to you and your descendants. Okay? I will fulfill the oath which I swore to Abraham, your father. You see? So let me ask a question. If he did not stay in that land, would he have received this?
No, I don't think so.
No. So what we see here, everyone, is that the blessings of Yah is directly connected to the place that Yah says, I will bless you in this land. I will be with you in this land. I will be with you. Now, Yah has not said that to us while we're in our lands. He didn't say that I'm going to be with you and bless you while you're in the lands of your enemies. You and I are here as a timeout to get in punishment and to review everything that's happened. Okay? And he says, because I will give all these lands to you and your descendants. Okay? I'm going to give it to you and all your descendants. So let me ask a question. Did Yitzchak inherit all the lands? Did he get all the lands that he said, I'm going to give all these lands to you and to your descendants? That's the question.
I would say yes.
Why would you say yes?
Because at that time, he gave them all the land. He just lost it by being disrespectful.
Well, here's the thing. They didn't have possession. They were strangers. Okay. He was actually living in this man's land. He was living in Gerar, which is the king of the Philistine. Okay. So he didn't give him this land. He says, stay in this land because I'm going to give it to you and your descendants. Right. He didn't give any of these lands yet. Okay. And then he says, I will fulfill the oath. Okay. That I swore to Abraham, your father. So the oath is contingent upon what Yah swore to Abraham. Okay. Right. If it's all connected to Abraham, it's about what Yah said. Okay. It's something he swore. Verse number 4. I will make your descendants. So I'm going to give this land to your descendants. We see, remember, we know that the Most High promised 3 things when he spoke to Abraham. What did he promise him?
Land, descendants, and he would be there Elohim.
Here's the land. Here's the descendants. Right? And I will be with you and bless you. Okay. So we know that Yah, when Yah is with us, then that's when you're going to get your blessing. All right. The real blessing, the blessing that he's promised. Okay. I'm only going to give you what I said I was going to give to you. I'm not going to give you any more. And I'm not going to give you any less. I'm going to give you exactly what I said I'm going to give to you. I'm going to give you the land and I'm going to give you the descendants and I will be with you. You can see all that right there, what he told Abraham. Okay. So, because that's what he told Abraham. Okay. And you're going to get everything that pertains to the land and the descendants, as we discussed before. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. Exactly what he told Abraham. I will give all these lands. I will give all these lands to your descendants. Okay. And by your descendants, all the nations of the earth will bless themselves, just like he told our father Abraham. So he's letting him know the same identical oath. So he tells what the oath is right here. That's the oath. Stars, descendants as numerous as the stars. I'm going to give you the land. Okay. And then all the earth is going to bless themselves with what? With these descendants. Meaning that when he talks about blessing, they're going to come and they're going to bend the knee. And when they bend the knee, they're going to have a gift in their hands. And when they come, they're going to bend their knee when they get there with a gift in your hand, and they're going to give it to who? They're going to give it to the descendants of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That's what it means. It's not that they're going to be able to take anything that belongs to us and have it for themselves. Verse number 5 says this, all this. So everything that he's discussed in verse number 3 and 4 is all of this that I just mentioned is because. Again, our word for our Torah portion this week, because Abraham heeded, meaning guarded, what I said and did what I told him to do. This is the reason for the blessing. This is why Yah says, I'll give you all these lands. And I'm going to give you descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. Is because he heeded, he listened and guarded what I said, and he did what I told him to do. He followed my mitzvot, my regulations, and my teachings. So let's go over to the Hebrew and find out what does it say about the mitzvot, the regulations, and the teachings. Okay. I know it says something about him guarding the charge. So in verse number 5, it says here, and in Hebrew, it says, there you go, there's our word, akwav. There's a connection. Yeah, there's a connection right there. So it's the same word that's being used in our Torah portion. Okay. Again, making reference to Yaakov. Okay. You may say, well, how do you get that? It's because everything that Yah has done is when he got to Yaakov, this is the final ancestor that Yah makes that promise to. See, Yaakov's sons, he has 12 sons, which are the 12 tribes of Israel. And each one of those sons is giving a portion of land. And each one of them given, the responsibility to lead their mishpachah. Okay. But Yah says, I'm going to give it to Yaakov, but I'm going to change Yaakov's name, and I'm going to give his name to be Yisrael. Okay. Because Yisrael means that he rules with Yah, or he has prevailed with the Most High. And so everything the Most High is doing was because of Yaakov. This is who Yah had in mind. This is who Yah has in mind. Okay. And I'll prove that to us here in just a moment. He said, I shared the Shema. He did the Shema. He obeyed what I said, Avraham, to the Bekoli, which we talked about on Shabbat, my voice. And Yishmor, and he kept and guarded my Mishmamarti, my charge, everything that I told him to do. He did my mitzvotai, those that belong to me, and my kukothai. So you're saying that Avraham did mitzvot and he did kukai, which he did the decrees? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. You see? And what? And my wathorathai. Right here for us. When it talks about my teachings, they got their laws. It's not my laws. It's my instructions. My thorathai. Everything. Mitzvotai, kukothai, and thorathai. He followed everything I told him to do. He did everything I told him to do. I didn't promise this to him because he decided to go on his own. He followed everything, even to the point of when I told him to go sacrifice his son, to go up there and kill him, because I wanted to see if he would withhold anything from me, and he didn't. The very thing he loved the most, he's willing to leave it and to let me know that I'm with you. I'm with whatever you tell me to do. It's not because he's saying, well, I'm doing this for the sake of Christ in the future. Okay. So let's end our study with this last idea, because I said that everything is for Jacob. Everything is for Israel. And I want to confirm those things. So let's confirm what I say, if it's true, about what the Most High has declared to us. You're going to find this in Isaiah. In Isaiah chapter number 49. Okay, I'm going to show you something here. In Isaiah 49, to let you know that this has been something that the Most High has had an intention about forever. Jacob, and what they call a Yaakov, known as Israel, has always been in Yah's mind. Okay, which are talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. Chapter number 49 says, coastlands, listen to me. Listen. So again, our word for listen is Shema. I need you to listen, you peoples far away. Yahweh called me from the womb. I was called from the womb. So I'm not an afterthought. I was called from the womb. Before I was born, he had spoken my name. What? Yeah. Before I was born, he has spoken my name. Right? He has made my mouth like. It's not as like a sharp sword. It's not a sharp sword. It's like a sharp sword. While he's hiding me in the shadow of his hand. I asked the Most High, why would you say this? Why would you make his mouth like a sharp sword? And why is that sharp sword hiding in the shadow of his hands? Because he's saying that I haven't revealed this servant yet. I haven't allowed him to speak on my behalf yet. He said, he has made me like a sharpened arrow while concealing me in his quiver. Wow. So Yah is concealing me. He's hiding me. So nobody knows who I am. This is the reason why I'm telling you coastlands and you peoples are far away to listen to me and listen to what I got to say. Because now I'm talking. Okay. He said in verse number 3, he said to me, this is what Yah said to this individual that was called by his name before he was even born. Look, listen what he said to him. He said, you are my servant, Yisrael, through whom I will show my glory. So this is the reason why the Most High has chosen Yaakov, because his name before Yisrael was Yaakov. So Israel's name was changed. Yaakov's name was changed to Israel. Okay. You are my servant through whom I will show my glory. A lot of people try to say that this is Christ in the New Testament, but Yah didn't show any of his glory, and he doesn't show his glory by killing the innocent and letting the wicked go free. So when Yah talks about showing his glory, he's talking about the end times. He's talking about what Yah's intention is in the end days to show his glory. I think on Shabbat, I showed you in chapter number 34, or chapter number 40, he says that I'm going to show my glory to all humankind. Why and when he comes back and gets Israel? That's when they're going to see his glory. Okay. And he says, you are my servant. So now that this servant is speaking now, this servant is Yisrael. Yisrael has now opened his mouth to the coastlands. Why? Because Yah has showed his glory to all peoples, like he said in chapter number 40. He says, but I said, this is what he said to me, you are my servant. But he said, I said, who said this? Israel says this, I have toiled in vain. So all the work that I've done up to this point has been for nothing. I've spent my strength for nothing, futility. Well, there's nowhere in any part of the Torah or the judgments or the writings where Jacob or Yisrael has ever said anything like this. So it's talking about how after all that we've done, and Yah has revealed us now, the only thing that we're able to say at the end of everything is that I've toiled in vain. I've spent my strength for nothing, futility, absolutely. I haven't been useful. Okay. And he says, but yet my cause is with Yahweh and my reward is with my Elohim. So in spite of the failures that we've had as a people, and despite of all the strength that we've lost and everything that we've gone through, it seems like our lives have been nothing but a waste. But he says, my cause, and this is something that you and I need to say, is that yet my cause, my judgment, that's what it's talking about, this cause right here. My judgment is with Yahweh. Judgment not for my sins, judgment to go against all the people that have taken away from me. Okay, just kind of like when our father Jacob had worked for Laban for a long time, and he worked for him years for the first 7 years, and he got robbed. And then after that, he worked another 7 years, so 14 years. And then he got robbed again from the stuff that he needed, and he had to work another. He was there for like over 20 some years. And this is making a reference to this statement here. So when we look at the life of our father Yaakov, when we read his story, we need to understand that that is going to be the story for his whole entire existence as a people. Okay. But at the end, was Jacob's or Yisrael, when he changed his name, did Yah show him cause and judge him well? Yes, he did. Did he protect him against his brother Esau? Yes, he did. Did he protect him against Lavan, his uncle? Yes, he did. So our reward is with our Elohim. Our judgment for what we've gone through as a people is with our Elohim, because Yah's intention is to show his glory through us. We should be honored that Yah has chosen us as his people. As was mentioned earlier in our Torah portion, I think last week, it says that out of all the peoples on the face of the earth, the Most High has chosen us. It's not because we were the many, it's not because we were the strongest, but he chose us because we are the fewest. And in our Torah portion this week, he's going to talk about it's not because of any righteousness that you have done, it's because of the wickedness of these nations. But look at what it says in verse number 5. Yahweh says this. Now, Yahweh says, okay, not that he said, he says, number one, he says this, number one, he formed me in the womb to be a servant. So now this servant is saying what Yahweh says. That's number one, the reason why. Okay. Yahweh formed me in the womb, who Israel, to be his servant. That's number one. That's what he says. Number two thing that Yahweh says, to bring Yaakov back to him. Okay. He's not asking the servant of Israel to bring Yaakov back to him. That doesn't make sense. Yah's just listing the things that he's going to do. Number one, I'm creating you to be my servant. The second thing Yah says he's going to do is to bring Yaakov back to him. The third thing he said is to have Israel gather to him. Okay? So that he will be honored in the sight of Yahweh. Okay? So that I will be honored in the sight of Yahweh. My Elohim having become my strength. Okay? Yah's not only my strength, but he is my reward. Listen carefully. The purpose of Yah sending us into exile, everyone, is because he knows when we get here, we're going to become weakened. He understands that when we get here, everything that we've done so far has been for nothing. But everything that we think has been for futility has been, but not in Yah's eyes. Yah's purpose is to show his glory through us. All the suffering that we're going through, the Most High has a plan. So you and I then will be strengthened by the Most High, and we're going to be honored in the sight of Yahweh. After losing everything, after losing all of our strength, after being destroyed by other nations. Because if Yah is our strength, the only way that Yah could become our strength is when we become weak. It's because of what Yah's intention is about him showing his glory that he has allowed us to continue. He could have, you notice in the Torah portion, he said he was going to destroy us and exterminate us. But it's not about that. It's because, going back to our Torah portion, it's because of this, of Yah showing his glory. Moshe said, if you destroy them, the people would say that you brought them out here. You didn't have the ability to bring them in. That's the reason why you killed them in the wilderness, because you weren't able to bring them into the land that you swore to our ancestors. So there's always a purpose behind what Yah is doing. You understand? I want to show you one other place. Praise the mighty Yah for giving us understanding tonight. I want to show in Deuteronomy chapter number 32, where he tells us, I'm going to watch and see what happens to them. Okay. To kind of follow up what I said about why he's doing what he's doing to us and how we are supposed to become weak first and lose everything. And then Yah will fight our cause. And then also too, then he will strengthen us. Let's see, where is it at? Yeshurun. Here you go. Listen what the Most High said. I'm going right to it. Verse number 18 says this. You ignored the rock who fathered you. You forgot Elohim who gave you birth. Okay, so not only did he call us from the womb, and then he spoke our name before we were even born. Okay, it says Yahweh saw and was filled with scorn at his sons and daughters' provocation. Okay, He said, I will hide my face from them and see what will become of them. For they are a perverse generation, untrustworthy children. Okay. They arouse my jealousy with the non-God and provoke me with their vanities. And I will arouse their jealousy with the non-people and provoke them with the vile nation. For my anger has been fired up, it burns to the depths of Sheol, meaning hell, devouring the earth and its crops and kindling the very roots of the hills. Yah is so mad at what his children have done. He says, my anger is so burning up so much that it burns all the way down to the depths of the Sheol, to hell, okay? Meaning the underworld, devouring the earth and its crops. So when he's talking about this, everyone, he's letting us know that his anger is so powerful that the fire that he's bringing is going to come and is going to destroy the earth, its crops, and is going to kindle the very roots of the hills. So if the hills are established and the hills are established and they have a root system, Yah says, I'm burning all the way down past that too. I'm burning all the way from the surface all the way down. Okay. He said, I will heap disasters on them and use all my arrows against them. Fatigued by hunger, they will be consumed by fever and bitter defeat. I will send them fangs of wild beasts and poison reptiles crawling in the dust. Outside, the sword makes them parent childless. Inside, there is panic, and young men and young girls are alike slain, sucklings and gray beards together. He doesn't care. And again, he goes back to it again. I've considered this to putting an end to them, erasing their memory from the human race. That means I'm going to exterminate. I've considered exterminating them where they wouldn't even have a name that no one to ever to remember. The name of Yisrael would never be mentioned again by any human being on the face of this earth, as if it never existed. But the only reason this stopped him is because he says in verse 27, but I feared the insolence of their enemy. And I feared that their foes would mistakenly think we ourselves accomplished this, because that's what they think when they're following other gods. And so Yahweh had nothing to do with it. So Yahweh is protecting his reputation. Yahweh is protecting his reputation. You see? That's the reason why. That's the reason why. That's the reason why you and I are still here. Yeah. Okay. Let me see here. Anyone else know? Yeah, he said, I want to see what's going to become of them. Yeah, I want to see. I want to see what's going to become of them. And then I think also too, he mocks them and tells them to call out to their God. Where did I read vengeance of my foes? Okay, he talks about vengeance again. I trust it. Okay. Oh, okay, here it is. He is mocking them. Look what he says. He says, yes, Yahweh will, verse number 36, Yahweh will judge his people, taking pity on his servants. He's taking pity on those who serve him, like you and I. Okay? Because we are still his servants. We're just not in service. He says, when he sees that they're what? There you go. That's what I was looking for. The follow-up what we read over in Isaiah 49. I'm going to wait when he sees that their strength is gone and that no one is left, slave or free, meaning that you are not in slavery, but neither are you free. I got to make sure that all their strength is gone. So are we waiting for LeBron James and them to all their money to, because to disappear for us to? He's not talking about that. This has nothing to do with wealth as a people or an individual. This has to do with this idea of whether or not you and I can endure what the nations are putting on us and their gods. That's what he's talking about. You see, that's what he's making mention of here. He says, verse 37, then he will ask. This is what the Most High is going to ask when their strength is gone. Where are their gods? Where are their gods? And then he says something very interesting, the rock in whom they trusted, which is Christ of the New Testament. Where are their gods whom they trusted? Where's this rock that you trusted in? Where's Christ at? You know, who's the one that's eating the fat of your sacrifices and drink the wine of your drink offerings? Let him get up and help you. Let him protect you. So this has to do with our protection as a people. Okay. And so here the deal is, and I don't have time to go to it right now, but according to Jeremiah 30, and I know a lot of us love prophecy. So is it Isaiah who is talking? No, he's talking. Isaiah is the one who's writing it and telling you the testimony, right? And here's the connection. Isaiah is talking, you know, he's the one who's reciting what the vision is or what the prophecy is, right? So we know that Isaiah and all other prophets, Yah calls them his servant. All of those are Yah's servants. He said, my servant, the prophets. Okay. Those are Yah's servants, the prophets. When the prophets speak, okay, oh my goodness, I'm about to pass out. The children of Israel asked Yah to speak to them. How? How did they want to speak to Yah?
No, Moshe.
Yeah, exactly. And then Moshe says that when I die, Yah's going to raise up a prophet for you. Okay. A prophet, not the prophet, a prophet. And when he comes, he's going to speak his words and he's going to tell you. He says, because you asked, you guys requested that Yah would speak to you this way. So every prophet that came to Israel spoke to Israel on behalf of Yah. Now here's the flip side. That's why I almost passed out when I thought about it. Just like they're coming to you with the message from Yah and what Yah said, he's known as Yahweh's servant. Whoever this prophet is, whoever they might be, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Hosea, Elisha, Elijah, okay? They are not only receiving messages, but also when they're talking on behalf of Yahweh's servant. You get it? Like, they're not just receiving information. As a servant of the Most High, you have a right to speak on behalf of the nation of Israel. So often when you hear these prophets talking, they're telling you what Yah is saying, but also too, they're telling you things that you as a servant of Yah, as Yah's ultimate servant, which is Yaakov, Israel, is saying to Yah. They're prophetically speaking on Yaakov's behalf in Israel, which you saw in 49. So even though Isaiah is the one writing it, he's in this vision as the servant of Yah, speaking as if he's Israel, like he's speaking on our behalf. That's how powerful this is. So it's not just one way of communication. It's Yah sending the message through the prophet to the people. It's the servant of the prophet who's then responding to Yah as he's the servant of Yah on behalf of the people. It goes both ways because Yah's just not dictating, Yah's listening. Okay, here's another point. When David had sinned against the Most High, who did the Most High send to him?
He sent the prophet Nathan.
He sent the prophet Nathan. Okay, and Nathan delivered a message. And then David said some things to Nathan and went straight back to the Most High. Before David fell in his sin, what happened when David was going around, when Nathan came to him and he told Nathan, he said, hey, I don't feel right. I can't sleep. I want to build Yah a house. Nathan took that information and went to who? He went to Yahweh. And he came back and told David what Yahweh said. And said, well, Yahweh said, you can't build me this house I thank you for that, but I've never dwelt in a house. I've always dealt in a tent. So the prophet is there to bring messages and also to give Yah the response. You understand? So that's the idea behind a prophet. And that's the part that we've never been taught. We've just been taught that a prophet is supposed to just speak and that's it. No, he's there for communication between Yah and the people and between the people and Yah. So when Yah gives Isaiah this vision that you see in 49, he's speaking just as if he's Israel himself. He's in the vision as a servant of Yah. He's qualified to say this. And that's the reason why he's saying it. That's beautiful, isn't it? It's a beautiful thing. Praise the mighty Yah. So I don't want to be too confusing, but as a servant of Yah, just like when Jeremiah was praying and he was saying, hey, this is too hard on me and, don't let them do this to me. It's not just because Jeremiah is saying it. He's saying that as a servant of Yah. All servants of Yah experience very similar things. Very similar. Okay. And so when Moshe went to the Most High, he was a prophet. What did he do? He went on the behalf of the people and he spoke to Yah. Don't see? So it's going back and forth. When the people started complaining, Moses took the complaint to Yah. When Yah wanted to send a message to the people, he tell Moshe, and Moshe went and tell the people. That's what the prophet is, like an intermediator between Yah and the people and Yah. So when Isaiah was saying that in Isaiah 49, he was talking on behalf of the servant, which is Yisrael. All praise be given to our Creator. Hallelujah.
Toda Rabba.
Toda Rabba. Lila Tov, everyone. If Yah's willing, I'll see all of you on Yom Kamishi.